Let's make it a good day.
Coming up today, Couric Confessional. Katie Couric sits down for her first live interview to talk all about the revelations in her new autobiography, including her thoughts on Matt Lauer. Then, it's killing it at the box office, but does Halloween Kills satisfy this Michael Myers fan? I'll have my review. And meet the local authors behind a fascinating new book on the science behind serial killers. Yes, my friends, we have a spooky theme today. Here we go.
Let's make it a good day. We do it our own way. Let's make it a good day. Oh, no matter what they say. Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Wyndham. Good morning, Wabasha. Good morning, Wenatchee. And good morning to you. Welcome to the Jason Show. I'm Jace. Please join me in saying hello to my sidekick sister from another mister and Discount Waterbeds Employee of the Month, Kendall Mark.
Oh. Discounted waterbeds.
Did you ever own a waterbed? Have you ever owned a waterbed? I know it's a personal question, but...
I slept on one at a friend's house, like an elementary school sleepover, and I remember I thought it'd be so fun, and I hated it.
It's awful. I had one during my high school years. My mom was nice enough to buy one for me, or I bought it from a relative who got sick of it. And if I was, they were horrible for your back, and I didn't know that as a youngster. You didn't really care about your back when you're young, but yeah.
Awful. Yeah, I met Christy Guzzi. Hi. Hey, Christy. That little waterbed. And every time she'd move, I'd move. And every time I'd move, she'd move.
I know. A little TMI. I tried making out with a girl on one.
Okay, wait, back up.
I know, it's shocking. I had girlfriends. But I was trying to kissy with a date.
With the little Missy.
And it was just like, it was rough seas, girl. It was rough seas for various reasons. But it just, we couldn't get the flow. It just,
For, again, multiple reasons.
Yeah, rolled on one side. We just couldn't. I mean, I felt like I was on a boat. Yeah, it was too much. I have a story for you. And I don't usually get freaked out about stuff like this. Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
I'm not a guy that has aluminum foil on his head. I don't live in fear. I have relatives who like block the camera, the lens on their camera phone because they don't want, Barack Obama watching them or whoever the president is. They don't want people.
Years ago.
They don't want the government watching them. You know what I mean? I don't live like that. My feeling is I always just assume people are listening anyway. I don't care. Do you really want to spy on me at home? You know what you're going to find? Me, a middle-aged guy sitting on the couch watching Knots Landing eating rice pudding. I mean, it's not that exciting. So listen to this. Listen to this. Yesterday, I went outside my condo, and across the street lives, I've referenced him before, my buddy, assistant Q, Quinn. Quinn comes over, and we're standing there outside my apartment, or outside the condo. We have a little brief conversation, and I said, hey, what's your schedule like this week? You want to do lunch? And he goes, yeah, how about tomorrow? And I go, fantastic. We wrap up our pleasantries. Q goes on his way. I go on my way. I go get a haircut. I get done with getting the hairs cut.
Looks great.
Thank you very much. Yours does too. You got your hair did yesterday too, and you look beautiful.
Sorry.
But anyway, I get home and I get the confirmation email from the Hers salon for my future appointment.
Yep.
And you know how in the body of an email, if there's a date, most phones, if you click on it, it'll create an event in your calendar. So I went to press the date. It took me to my calendar, and right below the date for the new haircut, it said lunch with Quinn tomorrow noon. And I went, I didn't put that in there. I didn't type that.
Yeah, this was like a verbal conversation.
It was a verbal conversation with no confirmation. And it's like, it said something about calculated within messages or suggested or whatever. So I go in our text message chain between Quinn and me. There was no discussion of lunch in our text messaging. Nothing.
It knew?
Well, so I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I really don't. I mean, I do believe in chupacabras, but that's only because I had an encounter with one in St. Louis Park on Minnetonka Boulevard about 5 years ago.
It's true.
But other than that, and I may believe in Nessie, but that's it. But I've never believed that our phones, I don't think Bill Gates is listening to me. I don't think that. I don't like to live like that.
Right.
It's just, well, I don't care. But how can you explain that? The only explanation I've heard is that if Q, because we're both on iPhones, if he created an event tied to me, then maybe. I don't know. But he's in his 20s, so he doesn't wake up till noon. So I'm not going to bother him now.
Right.
I'm a little freaked out, I must tell you.
I once got an advertisement for a booty band, and I wasn't talking about the booty band. My friend was. That's a whole nother story. It's a workout equipment thing. But anyway, yeah, and I got ads, and I didn't look it up, and she was talking about it.
I'm glad you clarified it was a workout device, because it means something totally
thing.
different in the 80s.
Okay.
Let's get started, everybody. It's time for the hot dish. Roll it. Hell, it means something different right now. It's the interview we've been waiting for. My ex-wife, Pretend, Katie Couric, returned to the Today Show this morning to talk about her new book. It's called Going There. She sat down with Savannah, and the two, well, they went there. They first talked about sexism she encountered in her career. Let's look at this.
All right, but what did you want people to know about the boys club that you encountered and what it was really like in the news business in those days?
I think early on I encountered a lot of sexism. Someone the other day said it was casual sexism. I said I don't think there's anything casual about it. You know, I tell a story at CNN when I was 26, and I walked into a meeting of male executives and one woman, and the vice president said, that's not why Katie's successful. She's successful because of her hard work, determination, work ethic, and breast size in front of a whole group of executives. And at 26, I wrote him a scathing memo asking for him to apologize. And I think in many ways that set the tone for the rest of my career.
Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to run a couple more sound bites, and then we'll discuss on the other side, okay? So one of the other revelations from the book that has been leaked is about sabotage. We've been covering this for a while. You know how I feel about that. Basically, how Katie treated other women vying for her job. Take a look.
I think that I have mentored scores of women, many of who still work on this show and in the control room. Hi, ladies. But, you know, I think that when there are very few jobs for women and men are making decisions not necessarily based on, you know, the right criteria, that sometimes you do get insecure and sometimes you do get territorial. I think it's human nature. I think anyone in a high-profile position, in a coveted spot, and I think even outside the TV industry, both women and men have felt that occasionally. I just was honest enough to admit it, I think.
And to be clear, did you ever actively try to sabotage another female on-air correspondent?
Never. I think I just wish that maybe I had extended myself more and shown people the ropes a little bit more.
Before we get into the last thing about Mervy Pervy Matt Lauer, let's talk about those two things. First, the sexism in this business. My opinions, well, about everything. I'm only talking about my personal experiences and Kendall talking about hers. This doesn't surprise me at all. It's still going on in 2021. Ironically, I had a conversation yesterday with somebody talking about how there are avenues of this business, even in 2021, that are still rampant with the old boys club. That's the term for it. So that doesn't surprise me. Let's talk about the purposely sabotaging female colleagues. As I've said before when this was released, it's low-hanging fruit for Katie's detractors to immediately hang her with oh, she's not a girlfriend. She's not a woman's woman. But I'm sorry, it is the truth. As someone that's been in this business since the mid-90s, and you've been in this business as a woman, I will tell you, and again, I hate generalities, but this is just my experience. My experience has been in 25 years, the most backstabbing, the harshest behavior I have seen are between women. But this is why. Because usually these decisions are being made by guys, and the guys are in some ways pitting the women against each other, because the guys are making the decisions about, oh, well, you know, Anchor X, oh, look at her, she's younger. She's a younger version of Anchor Y. So, of course, these women are on their heels, per se, and are protective of their territory. Because it is the truth. That, and you know, in the 80s and 90s and even today, you hear bosses all the time say, oh, okay, well, research is showing that, you know, you're not really drawing a younger demographic, so let's bring in Lisa, who's 10 years younger. So for anybody to say that Katie's the only one doing this, you're bananas. I mean, you're naive of the business, because I have seen it. I still see it. I will never name names, but I see it. I'm just telling you the truth here. Raw. I see it still to this day. I see awful, awful behavior between colleagues and little backstabbing moments, going to the executive producer and going, Stacy has 3 more scripts than I do. I see it to this day. Not necessarily here, but I hear about it. I have enough friends. What were you going to say as a woman in the business?
I think I am still at the younger woman point in my career. I genuinely have been very, very fortunate. It's sad to say that, but fortunate. I've never had to deal with the sexual side of things that like she's attesting to, sexual harassment type things. I've never had to deal with that. I will say, I know from other women I work with, I know from myself in jobs that I've done, when they're auditioning someone else, there's a little bit of that competitiveness. There's that fire. And you, like you said, you can't tell me it's not like that in every job. It's just more so on TV because it has to do with your face. And there's only so much you can be like not offended by that.
Exactly. Well, finally, Savannah asked about former co-anchor Matt Lauer. Let's get to that. Look at this.
Were there things that you, in the course of writing this book, you looked back on, stories or memories that you came to see in a different light?
Well, you know, there's always gossip in television news, and I think there was gossip here and there about certain people. And, you know, I think it was a very permissive environment in the 90s, and I think permissive environments often result in serious transgressions. And, you know, I think back then it was sort of like you felt like it was none of your business, and nobody ever came to me to talk to me about it. And I think our notion of what a consensual relationship has changed dramatically, and you have to consider the power dynamics.
Absolutely. I'll keep this very brief. Well, first of all, let me say this. Katie says she and Matt do not have a relationship anymore. Done. They do not. I will say this. I can go back. I've told stories even to our studio audience of back in the day, even in the 90s, some of the stuff that was jokingly said to me by older anchors that I find funny, like gay comments that I found hysterical now. But if anybody wrote about them, you know what I mean? If anybody wrote about them, put in black and white, people would be like, oh my God, X, Y, and Z is anti-gay. No, I laughed about it. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just about context. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. Back in a moment.
More hot topics, more hot dish. Next, Wonder Woman 3 is happening, and the original owner of the Invisible Jet is on board. Details just ahead. Then it was #1 at the box office, but does Halloween Kills provide the thrills we wanted? I'll give you my review. And meet the local authors behind a fascinating new book on the science of serial killers. And yes, my friend, we have a spooky, scary theme today. That and more when the Jason Show continues.
Last month, right? This is true. You went to hospital. You were shooting a movie.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, having done 800 or 900 action movies, I hurt myself putting on a pair of leggings in a hotel room.
Really?
And I couldn't walk, and I couldn't lie down, I couldn't sit down, I couldn't do anything. So eventually we were trying to figure out how to kind of get out of the hotel room to go to hospital, because I couldn't sit or stand or do anything. So eventually an ambulance came, and they sort of rolled out a sheet and picked me up in it like a sort of a sausage, and then put me on a gurney, and then I went to hospital and was given a lot of drugs, and I don't drink at all.
Yeah.
So I really found out what kind of a drunk I am fast.
Right.
So did everyone else. And so I'm not a kind of, do you know who I am, have you seen all my films type, which is a huge relief. So I'm really glad I'm not. But I am a, everybody's trying to steal my ovaries.
Welcome back. Little late night rewind. It's Kate Beckinsale with James Corden last night. Looks amazing.
Maybe I should stop drinking if I'm going to look like that. Wait, nope.
Good answer there, yeah. Next in the dish, another celeb was sent home last night on Dancing with the Stars. Before we show you who and give you a recap, roll it, Leo. There we go. Now you can't sue us. It was a throwback to 1971 as the dancers all performed to Grease songs. Here are our local folks, Alan Burston and Amanda Klutz and Suni Lee and Sasha. Let's look at this.
Beauty school dropout, no graduation day for you. Beauty school dropout, missing the terms and flunk shampoo.
My papa said everything's alright. The doctor laid my money down with the stomach bouncing all around. Supposed to be my stomach was about to ride. Mama gave birth to the hand job.
Okay, so Alan and Amanda got a near perfect score, while Suni and Sasha finished near the top, and both, here's the important part, both survived to dance another week. Good for Suni. She was on Kelly Clarkson yesterday. Did you happen to see her?
No.
Oh, yeah.
She's so sweet.
She is. She said the best moment was coming home and seeing her sister. She said coming home from the Olympics, she goes, nothing against my mom, my mom and dad.
Yeah.
She goes, but it was the hug from her sister that she loved. Oh, yeah. I mean, because her sister's been such a big cheerleader. Well, it was a shocking elimination, as two of the highest scoring couples were left in the bottom two. That's right. College great Olivia Jade and Spice Girl Mel C. College great, anyway. We're left fighting for survival. And head judge Lynn broke the tie, sending Mel C home. Really? Really? We have an influencer left and there's a Spice Girl that got sent home?
Not okay, Len.
Seriously, I like Lynn. I mean, he knows what he's doing, but there's just something not right with the universe when Mel C gets sent home and we're left with Peloton Guy and Olivia Jade.
Don't wreck on Peloton Guy.
I like Peloton. I like him.
Cody Rigsby is my friend, I think. I'm pretty sure we sweat together, so.
He has no idea. I hate to burst your bubble. He has no idea who you are. Just like Victoria Principal has no idea who I am. Not yet. Not until the restraining order gets filed. Then she'll know who I am. And finally, it's time to play America's favorite game. Say it with me. Come on, Kendall. What was Tyra wearing? Okay, let's look at it.
Oh. It's like a bat suit.
Next in the dish.
Nothing?
Kendall, like some things in life, speaks for itself.
Okay.
I don't need to add anything. The viewers at home are making up their own comments.
Okay.
Next in the dish, friends, Disney is slamming the brakes on several of its upcoming movies. Doctor Strange and the new Thor have both been pushed back about 2 months. The Black Panther sequel is getting delayed by 4 months. Now, so those movies are going to come out sometime in 2022. And the next untitled 5th Indiana Jones movie is being pushed back a full year to 2023. According to Variety, the delay is due to production issues. Now, Black Panther is in production right now, and since many of the Marvel movies are interconnected, any delay has a domino effect with, the next movies, because they're all interconnected. But let's talk about Indiana Jones for just a second.
You thinking what I'm thinking?
I'm thinking, and I don't like ageist jokes. I don't, and I love that Harrison is still doing it at, how old is Harrison, Jeff? Can you check for me, please? 82. Young. Should you really be delaying any movie with an 82-year-old as your star? I'm just saying. I'm just being.
I think that's what I was thinking. I mean, an action movie, that at some point it actually does put someone's health concerns.
Well, I'm not even being rude. I don't like age jokes. I'm just saying.
Right.
That's a little scary to me, you know?
Right.
I don't know. By the time, it's like Avatar. How long have we been waiting for a sequel to that? We don't even care anymore.
Avatar's gonna have a sequel?
They're gonna have like 80 sequels, and we haven't even gotten the first one yet.
Oh.
Yeah. Next in the dish, big news for fans of Wonder Woman. Linda Carter is returning to the franchise, or as producer Ted refers to as, who? She starred as the superhero in the 70s TV show on CBS, and here she is. at the end of the first one, or the Wonder Woman 2, that horrible movie, Wonder Woman 84. This was the only, you are looking at the only good scene in Wonder Woman 84 right here. Okay, so she's coming back for Wonder Woman 3. Gal Gadot is also coming back as Wonder Woman. So Linda Carter was the Wonder Woman on the TV show. Then, in this one, she plays like, basically the grand poobah of the Amazon women. Oh. She's the Marion Mim Davy Kessler, Carrington Colby, Mim Jong-un of the Amazonians.
Oh, cool. That's pretty bad A.
Yeah, she is. She's the tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want I liked Wonder Woman 1.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so good. I loved it.
So good. Mm-hmm. Wonder Woman 84 was a dumpster fire of awfulness.
Tried too hard.
It was awful. I just want this one to be good because I love Patty Jenkins, the director, and I love Gal. Mm-hmm. And obviously I love Wonder Woman because, that was one of the sources of me being made fun of when I was a kid. So like all the other boys dressed up like Spider-Man, and I like Spider-Man, but Spider-Man and Superman, I asked my mom for Wonder Woman underoos, and I put my own stars on my my uniform. Yeah.
Is that when Dar knew?
No, girl, Dar didn't know until 96 when I told her. Yeah, I know. I came out to my mom in 96, and we sat at the kitchen table, and this is how it went. Mom, I'm gay. Really? Yes. And then I got done with the conversation, and I called my friend Temple. And Temple said, how did it go? And I said, Dar says she didn't know. And Temple's response that I will remember until the day I die, Temple goes, has she met you? Hand to Oprah. That is literally the phone call. Because I got done telling my mom, I'm gay. Oh, really? Okay. And then I'm like, I'm going to go have drinks with the girls. I went in the living room, called Temple. Temple, I did it. How did it go? It went well. She says she didn't know. Has she met you? That was the exchange.
I love it.
Yeah. Next in the dish, tonight's the night, friends. Michelle Young's Search for Love begins. Here is a breathtaking preview for the upcoming season of The Bachelorette, featuring Minnesota's own Bachelorette.
Michelle is this amazing, beautiful, strong black woman. She's so real and so stunning.
Oh my God! This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a 1 in a billion girl.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy.
When I'm with you, you make me feel seen.
I just feel like the luckiest man ever.
He's got brains, he's got beauty, he's got swag. What more could a girl ask for? That was the hottest kiss of my life. You're so good.
You give me goosebumps, and I haven't felt goosebumps in years.
When I'm with him, I feel fireworks.
I'm on cloud 20,652.
The more time that I spend with her, the more I realize she could be the one.
Well, we already know who it's going to be. It's Reginald. I'm just kidding. There is no Reginald. Some of the season was shot here in I just wanted to mess with Kendall. Some of the season was shot here in Minneapolis. Producer Ted, thank goodness, because none of us, the rest of us, don't want to watch this crap. He's going to recap.
What do they call that, a Freudian slip?
He's going to recap tonight's grand entrances tomorrow on the show. I think that was a Freudian slip.
It totally was.
Yeah. Are you going to watch this? You like this.
I love this show. And hello, now this will be our second Bachelorette from Minnesota. Like, ladies here, people like us.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't, I'll let you and Ted watch it. Have fun.
Hi, Michelle. We're excited.
Yeah. Look, I'm excited. I'm not even really excited. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this. Back in a moment. Welcome back to Let's Yell at Tyler, the Floor Director. No, our first guest is a local filmmaker whose new project is a docuseries that focuses on serial killers. I'm obsessed. It's available on the streaming platform Fox Nation. Here's a clip from The Killer Next Door.
Sometimes he put a fake cast on, which he told me made him look injured and less intimidating. Ed told me he had this maneuver where he would get a tube of chapstick and put it in his hand. And then as he reached over to let the co-ed into the car, at the same time, he would drop that tube of chapstick in this press grip handle. This would prevent the door from opening from the inside. Once the victim was in the car, she could not get out.
I made that a challenge, almost like a chess game. And the more clever they got about checking me out ahead of time, the more clever I got.
There were times where he would kill someone, go to a bar, have a drink or two, while the victims' bodies were in the car, and he would come out and he would pop the lid of the car and look at them as his pride and joy.
Please welcome back to the show, the showrunner for The Killer Next Door and the senior vice president at Committee Films, our good friend Maria Oz. Hi, welcome back. Okay. I love these, and my mom who's watching is obsessed too. I love these true crime. I love these docuseries. But you know, each one is kind of done differently, and watching that clip, I can kind of guess how you did it. Are there recreations? Is it what's the format of this one?
Right. So I would say this is a docudrama series, but it's really interesting in how we did this. So the focus is on John Douglas, who is the actual mind hunter. So for people who've heard of the Mind Hunter,
that's right,
the Netflix
that's right.
series,
Yes.
the scripted series. So this is sort of the real documentary kind of version of that, but there are still dramatizations in there. And what we've done is we've taken John Douglas, who was kind of the, I guess he goes by kind of FBI's architect of criminal profiling. So he really was one of these criminal profilers in the beginning who kind of started this whole thing. We take his stories, his personal accounts of meeting all these serial killers. We put him back kind of in time observing some of these events going on. And then you get to learn about little details like you saw with the chapstick, you know, that you might not have known about how some of these killers operated.
In your research, what surprised you the most? Was there an element of it? Was there a character trait in some of these killers? What made you kind of go, maybe in an afternoon or night, go, oh, didn't think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that's the most interesting is how long a lot of these guys are able to operate without anyone knowing, you know, and they really do blend in, and you know, that gets at the title, The Killer Next Door. You know, how do you really know? I think that a lot of what John Douglas and, you know, the FBI's behavioral sciences unit has done is really bring to the forefront what some of those things are that these guys have in common. There's a murder triangle. Have you heard of the murder triangle?
No.
Homicidal triangle. So 3 things that a lot of serial killers have in common are bedwetting past sort of a young age, pyromania, so wanting to set fires, that's another one, and animal cruelty, like extreme animal cruelty.
Fascinating, because I have heard of the animal cruelty aspect, but I had never heard of the bedwetting and the really?
Pyromania,
and what's it called?
The murder triangle or the homicidal triangle.
And more than a few of these guys fit that triangle.
Right, and that's one of those things that when, you know, it's hard to remember now because there's so many shows, so many things about criminal profiling and the mind, right, of serial killers and other criminals. But, you know, John Douglas really was one of those pioneers to study this, and that homicidal triangle, those commonalities is one of the things that came out of a lot of that early research.
Because one of the things I loved about, and again, you guys should go watch it, the Mindhunter, the show, but one of the things that I learned from there that made me go, I didn't even think about that. I was born in '74, is the fact that before him, there really wasn't even a unit within the government to track these types of individuals. Is that true?
That's true. And so I think one of the cutting edge things and how this all got started really was, you know, the FBI and John Douglas was teaching classes, supposed to go and teach road schools to different law enforcement agencies about what to look for, you know, and things with crime scenes and whatnot. And he's like, well, I want to go talk to some of these actual offenders. Like, what can we learn from these people? And that clip you saw was a dramatization of his experience with Ed Kemper. So Ed Kemper was the co-ed killer in California. And you know, brutally murdered and dismembered a number of different college co-eds, but he went and sat down and talked with him and learned an enormous amount, which is what led to this study of 36 serial killers where he went around the country to talk to different people. So The Son of Sam, David Berkowitz, that's an episode that we've done. You know, we have an episode on John Wayne Gacy. There's just a lot of different interesting aspects of those cases.
Because I think the public, they see Silence of the Lambs, and they see, and that's probably most people's introduction to this universe is, I think that's fair to say. I think people see it as like, oh, obviously the FBI is going to go talk to a figure like Hannibal Lecter to help solve the cases. Right. But it's not true. The FBI, the older guys in the FBI found no value in doing that. Is that true?
Right. It really was kind of that advent, I would say, of this program in the 70s. And that is also really where the term serial killer starts to get used more often. You know, and a lot of people ask, well, what's the definition of serial killer? Sometimes you'll hear it's, you know, someone who kills more than 2 people, sometimes more than 3 people. I think the actual definition by the FBI right now is more than 2 people. But yeah, there was a time we didn't have any of that study going on. And as for Silence of the Lambs, that particular killer is based somewhat on a character.
Ed Gein?
No,
Yeah.
but also there's a guy named Gary Heidnik who would keep women torture them in a pit that he dug in his Philadelphia basement. That's one of the episodes that a lot of people probably may never have heard of that case. But there's just, you know, there's a lot. It's very, very dark, but there's a lot to learn, I would say, from these people.
Is it hard? We got to go, but is it hard when you're doing this research because it is dark? Is it hard to snap out of it and then go to Subway and get a sandwich at the end?
You know, I've been doing it for a while,
Yeah.
so for me, you know, I can make that distinction, but there's always moments that are gonna get you.
Okay. Well, continued success. Michelle is also responsible for our good friend, the laundry guy, too. So
yes,
we love you, Maria.
Yes.
We love
All
you.
right, thanks.
The Killer Next Door is available on the streaming service Fox Nation, so please go watch it. I will be as soon as the show is over, believe me. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Back in a moment. Oh, Maria, thank you so much. How many episodes? Welcome back to the show. Happy Tuesday. Truth be told, Kendall, I could have talked to Maria for 40, 50 more hours.
Just fascinating.
Fascinating.
And disturbing.
Yeah, in a interesting way. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you to Maria. I can't wait to have her back. Well, it's the #1 movie in America right now, more than 40 years after the original terrified everyone. Michael Myers and the cast from the original Halloween, a lot of them, are back for Halloween Kills. Look at this.
Hey, what are you guys doing out here? It's Halloween. We've been trick-or-treating. Are you alone?
There's a creepy man in a white mask.
Where?
And he keeps like trying to play hide and seek with us.
Where did you see him? Look! Run! Go home now!
Run, children! Kyle Richards and Jamie Lee Curtis are among the stars in the new movie that came out on Friday in theaters and on Peacock for free, which shocked me. I'll get into that a little bit. Just to kind of set the table here, I am a horror movie fan, and I consider Halloween to be my favorite horror movie franchise. I mean, like, I still think The Exorcist is the scariest movie. But just to kind of tell you where I'm coming from. This is part 2 of a 3-part trilogy, if you didn't know that. Halloween came out in 2018, which was kind of a continuation of the 1978 John Carpenter movie. Halloween Kills is this one, and then there's going to be Halloween Ends in about 2 years. People have criticized this because it's very different from the one in 2018, which was kind of very personal. It was about the relationship between Jamie Lee Curtis's character and Michael Myers. This one is brutal. By design. It's by design. This is supposed to be the hyper-violent one. Michael Myers escapes somehow, as he always does. I'm not ruining anything. He escapes from this fire, which was where we left him in the 2018 movie, and he goes on a rampage in the town of Haddonfield. Again, I went into this movie knowing this one was going to be bloodier and gorier. I mean, this is just your good old-fashioned slasher film from like the 80s. Okay, we can stop showing right there. Okay, we can get out of it now. But I liked it. Did I capital L love it? No. I liked it because this was the one deterrent. Part of the movie is the town of Haddonfield kind of becoming like a mob because they're sick of this guy terrorizing their town for 40 years. So they're doing this chant of like, evil dies tonight. I'm like, okay, I get it, thank you. Anthony Michael Hall plays one of the young kids. Yeah, that Anthony Michael Hall plays one of the kids that Jamie Lee Curtis babysat in the original. Well, now he's adult and he leads the town's mob to try to hunt down Michael Myers. And again, the dialogue is a little cheesy, but this isn't terms of endearment. We're not expecting, great dialogue. If you like this sort of thing, you'll love it. You'll like it. Just know it is very violent. The last positive thing I will say is the ending. Didn't see it coming.
Oh, really?
Did not see it coming, and it sets up a very personal conclusion. And dare I say, the end is a little poetic. If you're a fan of the franchise, it's quite poetic in what happens, and I went, oh, wow. I was surprised by it. And I read a couple reviews, and I was still shocked. Not shocked, that's overly dramatic. I was happy of where it went. And now I'm excited for the conclusion. It is available for free. I don't know. I have normal Peacock. I don't have a premium Peacock. Insert your own joke there. But I don't have the premium service. And I only had to sit through one State Farm commercial. But go see it in a movie theater to support the theaters. Halloween Kills is available right now. When we come back, our spooky theme continues. We're going to talk to two local authors on their new book about, you guessed it, killers. When we come back. Back in a moment. Welcome back. Well, as I said at the beginning, we have kind of a spooky, scary theme going today. We're going to keep it going with our next guest. They wrote a book in time for Halloween called The Science of Serial Killers. Please welcome to the show authors Meg and Kelly. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so we were just talking about, we've been talking about serial killers for about 40 minutes. What is the focus of this particular book? It's the title. It's the science behind them, right?
Right. Yeah. We wanted to take kind of a different approach. There's so much true crime out there, and this is our fourth book in the Science of series. So we've written about fictional monsters, and we wanted to get into more of the real deal monsters.
And what are some of the traits that, we were talking about that with Maria. What are some of the traits that you found run through a good number of them?
Something that's really scary, we were talking about that triangle, is that sometimes there's made killers. So you could be born a killer and have those psychological aspects, but sometimes it's your childhood and how you're brought up, and that's really scary and terrifying.
We even have some environmental things going on in our book that we talk about science, because serial killing is down 85% in the last 3 decades. So there has to be a reason for that.
Wait. I don't think I knew. It's down how much?
85% in the last 3 decades.
When was the highest? Was it the 70s?
Yep, when you think it was. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And that's why a lot of us who grew up in that era just assumed, a bad thing. There's a boogeyman around every corner.
Yeah. My mom just thought I was going to be kidnapped off the street. I think
yeah. In the 80s.
Exactly.
That was the era of the slasher movie too.
Right. Mm-hmm.
What do the experts say? Is there a reason that is it because the research is better and it's spotting the potential Dahmers is easier?
Part of it, but I think we're going to give you a little spoiler for a really interesting chapter.
Yeah.
There's actually evidence to show that lead in the environment could have something to do with it.
And lead was at its highest, and kids were playing with toys that had lead in them, gasoline, of course.
Yes, so there's actually evidence that can cause violent crime, and it could have something to do, plus somebody who is already, ready as far as genetics and things like that. So it's fascinating.
I was going to say, because I was talking to somebody about, and you kind of answered it there are, using the pun or not the pun, but the title of the movie, there are natural born killers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are. And then when they're put in an environment, we talked to somebody, Zach Villa, the actor who played Richard Ramirez in American Horror Story. We talked to him, and, Richard Ramirez was sort of put in this position where how could he not be a serial killer when you hear about his childhood and things like that. So if there are environmental factors too, it's sort of all these bad things, compounds.
And I know one of the traits, and it's interesting now that we're living in the Instagram influencer era, but there is also a thread with a lot of these guys. There is a thread of wanting to be famous.
Yeah,
is that true?
There is. That we actually 3 chapters we devote to specifically serial killers who just did it for the fame.
With no other motivation.
Right. Well,
maybe
I
a
mean, there's
little bit,
always
but-
something there. We actually get into Leopold and Loeb, which Rope, the wonderful Alfred Hitchcock film, is based on them. And these were 2 guys who they felt like they wanted to give it a try to become murderers. And
I love it.
you know,
It's like, let's just give it a try
we're
tonight.
bored. Well, they were affluential, you know, guys who had everything at their fingertips, and they decided that's the way they wanted
felt
to
so
go.
privileged that they thought they could get away with it.
Yeah.
I'll ask you the same question that I asked Maria, whether it's Bundy or any of the other subjects, even Jack the Ripper you guys look into. What was in the research something that just stood out to you that maybe, I mean, you're used to this type of material, that shocked you or surprised you the most?
I think the thing that surprised me the most was a more recent case, Israel Keys. He did so much planning ahead of time across countries and states in order to not get caught. And that's what we keep finding in all of our books. Truth is scarier than fiction.
Like the stuff that Hollywood produces is nothing compared to what's really going on.
Yeah.
How many, do you guys know, I don't mean to put you on the spot with this, do we have a figure, have we wrapped our brain around how many active serial killers are right now?
Well, I think, you know, it's certainly, like I said, it's a lot less than it used to be. And thankfully, you know, we interviewed a retired FBI agent, and he talked about how difficult it is to find serial killers and how difficult it is to sort of track them and know how many. But I don't have the figure, but certainly a lot less than there used to be. So that's good news.
Told you there was going to be a silver lining today, folks. Okay, you guys talked about Jack the Ripper, too. Probably, history says, probably the first known or written about serial killer. Anything interesting that we've learned in the last decade about Ripper that you guys learned?
I think the big takeaway from the research for this book is just how he picked his victims, and it was the less dead, and that's people who don't have that privilege or where they live.
That's a term used that we get into a lot, especially with Highway of Tears, killings that happen in northern Canada, where people who are hitchhiking, sex workers, people who are considered, you know, not your sort of college co-ed, and serial killers tend to go after those people who,
and even Jack the Ripper did, even though
Jack the Ripper did as
yeah.
well. You know, he went after people that weren't living in privileged lives, and it's a shame.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Can't wait to read this. Kelly and Meg, everybody, The Science of Serial Killers is available right now wherever books are sold. And follow their podcast as well. Search for horrorrewind.com. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this. Thank you so much. I got to listen to the podcast. Is it just on the... Welcome back, my friends. Are you ready?
I am.
I think the audience is ready too. It is time for the world's shortest segment. Get ready for another reboot. Just in time for Halloween, Rob Zombie is sharing the first photos from the set of The Munsters. I don't know if we need this, but anyway, the actors who play Herman, Lily, and Grandpa are seated in front of the brand new Munster house on Mockingbird Lane. The movie is currently filming in Hungary. No word yet on a release date. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this. Spooky theme continues. Welcome back. Wrapping things up today, our scary show. Good conversations, though. I'm going to read both. I'm going to read that book and watch that show and listen to that podcast.
That chapstick thing?
I know, that freaked you out.
It's still there.
It is time for the surprise goodbye. You know this, neither Kendall or I know what's going to happen here. Today, it's a video of what could be the next Olympic sport. This is the first ever Balloon World Cup happening in Spain. The rules are simple. Don't let the balloon hit the floor. 32 different countries took part with more than 8 million views of the competition on Twitch. Peru, by the way, beat Germany for the championship. And I'm supposed to read right now. Let's give it a try, okay?
Shoes off.
Come on.
Jason, you already lost.
Well,
I'm in a dress, Jason.
Well, hold on a minute. My mic is coming off.
That was
okay.
you.
Well, no, give me that one.
Oh my gosh. We're competing
Okay, here we go.
against each other.
No, don't hit that far. Where is
You have
it?
to hit it. And now I try to get
No,
you.
don't do that.
No, that's what that's.
Oh, okay.
Oh God. Okay. Okay. Are we done yet?
No, what time is this show over? Is this show over yet? No! Is this, oh God, my mic is falling literally down my pants.
I win!
Okay.
I'm the winner!
I don't like you anymore.
I'm the winner!
Tomorrow on the show, it doesn't matter. Meredith Vieira, I can't breathe. Go out there and be yourself because nobody can tell you're doing it wrong. I'm gonna go get the microphone for my parents. Bye, everybody.